This man saved a squirrel and raised it and took care of it for, I believe, 8 years because its mother was killed. It died. The mom died. I think it got run over by a car, if I'm not insane. And his name is Peanut. They also had a raccoon named Fred. This last couple of days, the government, I guess, the police came into their house with a search warrant. They raided his home, took Peanut and Fred and euthanized them. And it's really fucking sad. Like, genuinely super duper sad. I don't know how to talk about this because there's like a lot of different pieces and parts. Because the more I have like legitimately looked into this, the more I look into it, the less I think that this is an unnuanced issue. Subscribe! Firstly, what I'd like to say is this is being turned into this like partisan issue of like, oh, well, the Democrats killed Peanut. That is obviously a side effect of it being election season and everybody being really riled up about those things. I don't think that this is a partisan issue. I think it's just sad. It's sad when animals die. It's sad when animals die for no reason. The thing is that there are laws that prevent you from having certain animals as pets. Certain pets, especially ones that are native to North America, to the US, you are not allowed to own as pets without specific permits. And do I think that the squirrel should have been euthanized? Absolutely not. Do I think it's sad? Absolutely. But you're not allowed to own animals that are native to the US as pets without specific permits and licensure in the US. This is true. The reason that I'm aware of this is because I really like crows. I like crows and I like ravens. And I was like, oh, I wonder why I don't see a lot of people who own crows and ravens as pets, because they're really cool pets. They're really intelligent. They can talk, all those things. They're like parrots. And it's because you have to have a very specific aviary in order to own them. You have to be approved by the state to own them as pets. So like, you can't just have them in your house. You can't have a raven or a crow live in your house. And I doubt you can have a squirrel live in your house. It is not legal. And again, there are things you can do to work it out with the government. You have to get proper licensing. You have to have proper places for them to live, right? This is why it's hard to talk about, right, chat? Because I'm not saying that I think it is valid that they killed the animals. I don't think it was necessary to euthanize the animals, okay? I think it's really fucking sad. I don't think it was necessary. I think the amount of force that they went into this person's homes with to get those animals was way too fucking much. There's like a variety of things that can be true at the same time. However, the seizure of the animals itself, depending on the actual context of the situation, which we are not getting, is why it's hard to talk about this. The justification for the euthanization, which again, I don't agree with, is that they were checking them for rabies, which you cannot do until the animal is dead, because the squirrel, I believe, bit someone. But this is not a partisan issue. This has nothing to do with liberals versus Republicans, all that shit, conservatives, whatever. I think that this has a lot more to do with stupid bureaucracy, crap oversight. I don't know if this person had done their due diligence in making sure that they were allowed to have this animal, or these animals. There was 2. That's the problem with talking about a lot of this stuff, right? That's why it's so hard to talk about this and why I hesitated to even talk about it in detail. Because I've seen like 15 different versions of the story, each one specifically told to benefit the party that they want to benefit, right? Because in equal spades, I've seen that it was the Democrats who wanted to kill Peanut because they hate animals. And I've also seen, well, this guy was using this squirrel to promote his OnlyFans content, and now they're trying to make it a partisan issue. And like I've seen like a million different versions of the story, and I don't actually know the context. Do I think that the animal should have been euthanized? No. It's sad because that squirrel looks really happy jumping around like that. It's sad because that squirrel in any other situation would have died very, very young, would not have made it to be 8 years old. And so it is fucking sad. However, I don't know if this person had done the due diligence to actually keep this animal in their home. There are a lot of laws around native species in the US. Like a lot. which are incredibly valid, by the way, because we shouldn't just be keeping wild animals in our houses in most situations. It was Peanut bit an agent, allegedly. I've heard both versions is the problem. I've heard that it was an agent. I heard that it was someone else, and that was why there was a call put on Peanut. That's why it's hard to talk about. But you have to have proper permits, and you have to have proper spaces for these animals if you want to have species that are native specifically to the US. That is true with squirrels. That's true with raccoons. It's true with a lot of things. And so, like, it's fucking sad that this animal got euthanized. But the way that this is being used as a talking point is legitimately ridiculous. Y'all take issues that there's a big picture version of the issues, and you shrink them down into like this very heavy specificity, right? And that works in situations where it is highly specific, where it's between individuals. But what we're talking about right now is we're talking about a situation with an individual on TikTok who does have a bit of a political message, right? And the government, the United States government. The United States government does not need to take all of that specificity and all of those things into account, and they don't. I wish that this was not made political, and I wish we could use this as a learning opportunity to prevent something like this from happening again. How we could prevent something like this happening again, because this is obviously fucking tragic. That is what I'm saying. That's a great fucking summary. The government shouldn't have killed his pet. This guy should not have owned the pet for so long if he didn't have proper licensure and didn't have proper, space for the animal. And it all fucking sucks. And unfortunately, it was the pets that got fucking hurt by that. But it is impossible to talk about a situation like this with any amount of like critical thinking or nuance, because I say there is a reality where there is legality involved in this, and people go, so you just think it's okay that they euthanize the squirrel? And it's like, no, I would die for that squirrel. I would have died for that squirrel. I would overturn the government for one singular squirrel that was a friend. But at the same time, making it into a political issue when really we should be talking about like complicated bureaucracy and dog shit, and how this ended up happening and how we can prevent it happening in the future. I gotta get through the fact that if I say that there is a certain amount of legality to this, that doesn't mean that I also think that the squirrel should be dead. There are very good reasons why the laws exist protecting animals native to North America. Not every random person should just be taking a squirrel off the street and making it their pet. We understand that too, right? Because those are wild animals. This worked out well for this individual. He also does have a sanctuary for animals, to my knowledge, or some kind of charity, right? I feel bad for them. I feel very sad for the animals especially, but like, there's also reasons that laws and requirements like this exist. And if the case is that he did not follow the law, this was preventable. And additionally, they don't know that he's done proper care to the squirrel to make sure it doesn't have rabies. Animals can carry rabies and not visibly have rabies. If they get bit by the squirrel, they don't know that it doesn't have rabies. And there's a lot of fucking nuance to this that is completely erased when we decide to say the government is evil. He was a good guy, and the squirrel, like, that's really hard to fucking talk about. They have to take precautions. Do I think that it could have been handled differently and better? Yeah, obviously. But there is a certain amount of following protocol that we have to be aware of, even if we are not forgiving of it, right? I do not forgive the government for saying that they were following protocol and killing Peanut. Following protocol, they still will, because they have to make sure that they're not giving people rabies. If you get fully infected with rabies, you will basically 100% die. It's not like unserious. Just because like rabies doesn't seem like a big deal because you just get your dogs a rabies shot, right? You get your cats a rabies shot. And it's not that big of a deal because then they don't get rabies even if they got bit by something with rabies. If you get fully infected with the rabies, like with rabies, you will like die. You will die. It has like a 99% success rate on that. And you don't have to worry about that often because you don't have wild animals in your house. You do not actively handle and do shit with wild animals. Rabies is also still very serious. My understanding is that the animal has to be dead to test it for rabies. I don't know that. I don't know enough about that. That was the justification given, right? But rabies is fucking horrendous. There was also an individual who allegedly was bragging on Instagram about reporting the squirrel. And bragging about having reported the squirrel and was very, very happy that the squirrel got taken and euthanized. I don't know how much of that is true. Genuinely. There's a lot of pieces and parts to that like I don't feel like I fully understand. It's really hard to talk about because like obviously nobody wants to be seen as somebody who's celebrating an animal getting killed. Especially not this cute ass fucking squirrel. This squirrel is so fucking cute. Look at how they found this squirrel, by the way. Look at how they found this squirrel, by the way. Look at how they found this squirrel originally. That was what Peanut was. So yeah, it's super sad. Nobody wants to be seen as somebody who wanted this thing to pass. It's awful. But the way that this is being made into this like partisan issue with absolutely no nuance, very little legitimate context, all of those things, makes it super fucking hard to talk about. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'd done all of the shit he needed to do. He'd gotten all of his permits. He'd gotten all of that stuff. He got everything approved properly, and this still happened, in which case, fuck the government. Let's be mad. There are laws involved. And it's just sad. And I hate that this is a partisan issue now. I don't actually think this is the same squirrel. I think this is a different squirrel. I'm gonna be honest. But he did look like that probably when he was a baby. I don't think that's the same squirrel. But yeah, I don't know. I've seen a bunch of different versions of the story. I've seen a bunch of different versions of like how all of this worked, what happened, who caused it, all of those things. And like, it's really hard to like talk about when everybody just wants it to be this like political issue. It's just sad. This was a squirrel that by any other means in nature would be dead already. Would have already died. Would have died before they had ever lived. And he got the chance to live in a house happily for like 8 years. And then the government just fucking like euthanized him. It's disgusting. It's sad. And so I don't know. I don't know what the point of this was, but like it's so hard to understand the full context of a situation when it is like each like side has to make it the most convenient narrative politically. And like, I'm so excited for fucking election season to be over so that I can just get some of this shit off my fucking For You page. I have been so close to deleting Twitter for the last like couple of weeks because I'm just so fucking sick of everything being so incredibly politicized and negative. Not everything has to be specifically political. It's exhausting. I don't know. Think critically. You should think critically in this world. You should value critical thinking. I'm tired of it being like, discouraged to think critically and want to know the full picture before forming an opinion on something. Because you either have to choose a side, and you have to be 100% for the side. And if you think critically about it, and you have parts that you agree with on one side and parts that you agree with on another side, then you're like a psycho, I guess. You're a bad person. And it's tiring. So yeah, good luck on your No Nut November. I'm back. Hi, YouTube. If this ends up on YouTube, I'm back. Hello. It's been 16 days and I've been really sad. So I'm back. We'll be back to daily posting very soon. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is Peanut the Squirrel. Rest in peace. This shit is super sad. And I'm really, really tired of I'm really tired of this political shit. It's just like really exhausting. So I'll see y'all next time. Love yourselves, drink water, wash your body with a washcloth or African net sponge, not with your hands. It's not enough. I'll see y'all later. Bye!